Today, we're going to talk about this team. I entered this team in a tournament. This is a team that uses Hisuian Zoroark, Palafin, Urshifu Amoonguss Talonflame, and the Blood Moon Ursaluna. That's right, I'm finally busting out how I would personally play Blood Moon. And if you look at these items, they're a little bit weird. If you look at these items, you guys probably don't even know what berry that is on an Urshifu. So I'm going to show you guys my open team sheet from the tournament that I played, and you guys can see all of my items, all my movesets. We're using Choice Specs Zoroark, Normal Terra, with Protect on a Spec set, because you want to make them think. You want to make them think that you got something else. We got Trick on there to trick the specs away. Shadow Ball, Hyper Voice. Up next, we got Talonflame, a little bit of Wisp, Tailwind. Talonflame's actually really good in this format. I think more people should use it. We got a Blood Moon Ursaluna, Ghost Terra Weakness Policy. We also got another sub, Chris dropping the big sub. Thank you so much, my friend. We get the big Blood Moon Ursaluna, able to deal massive damage with Hyper Voice, Earth Power, and Vacuum Wave. Really, really cool Mono Disguise on this team. Zoroark has, because they both have Hyper Voice. You don't really know which one's which until you deal damage, so it's actually really cool. We have a full speed Poison Terra Sash Amoonguss. Why does this Amoonguss look like this? Why is it Effect Spore? This Amoonguss is made to Rage Powder away and just basically protect the Zoroark / Ursaluna in late game. But also, if I have a Tailwind up and I go Poison Terra, I will one-shot an Ogerpon with a Sludge Bomb. Full speed, full special attack, Poison Terra Amoonguss, also very good against Rillaboom. Try one of these out if you've never tried a Turbo Shroom before. Then what we have is the weirdest Pokemon. We have a Salac Berry Endure Fling Urshifu Dark. So, for those guys that don't know what the Salac Berry does, the Salac Berry raises your speed when you're in a pinch. It also works when you fling the Salac Berry. So what we can do is we can do a couple things. First of all, we can just click Endure, get our Salac Berry proc, and then we have basically a built-in Choice Scarf that lets us use like Close Combat and Wicked Blow, whatever other moves we want to use. We also can fling the Salac Berry into any of these mons, give them the speed boost, into Palafin and Amoonguss and a Blood Moon, doesn't matter. But if we do fling it into the Blood Moon, and we Terrastallize our Blood Moon into a Ghost Terra, when we do that, we'll activate the Weakness Policy, and then our full speed Blood Moon. I don't think I mentioned that. This Blood Moon is like full speed. Very, very speedy Gonzalez Blood Moon Ursaluna over here. We just win the game. And last but not least, we got Palafin. So this is actually a really, really cool team, and I entered it into a tournament, and so what we're going to be doing is taking a look at the VODs from that tournament and breaking them down, showing you every little bit of the tips and tricks this team can actually do. This is going to be our first round opponent's team. You can see their team is Chi-Yu Flutter, Rillaboom, Ogerpon, Shempao, Dragonite. So they're playing this like super standard. Like, let's take a look at the VOD here. Their team is so standard. They have like a bulky Ogerpon, they got Shempao, Dragonite, and I'm thinking to myself, like, when you're the person playing with my team on the left, it's so hard to like lead correctly. Zoroark is a very, very hard Pokemon to play. You have to be very, very good at bluffing when playing Zoroark. And so this is the very first game that I've ever played with this team, even though I've had this team in my builder for a very long time. You want to be forcing them to respect redirection. You want to be forcing them to respect, is that Palafin? Is that Zoroark? Is that Amoonguss? Is that Zoroark? Are they redirecting? Are they setting Tailwind? What's the deal here, right? And because Zoroark has Ghost normal typing, realistically, they should be respecting my ability to click Tailwind, or be a Ghost, or click Hyper Voice, or be a Ghost. Do you see what I mean? Like, yeah, you'd like to Extreme Speed Talonflame, but do you commit there? And yeah, you'd like to Sacred Sword my Ursaluna, or Icicle Crash my Ursaluna, but do you commit there? It's a little bit dicey, right? So you can see we have the Blood Moon here. I think I actually just led Blood Moon Ursaluna just because, or I led Talonflame Ursaluna just to, I always like to play it standard in the first one. I like to play it standard in the first one. This is also my very first game with the team. So you can see turn one. I cannot believe this person's doing this to me. I cannot believe this person's doing this to me. Turn one, normal Terra Dragonite. They're going all in on a team that has Zoroark. And they click the E-Speed. They click the E-Speed, knowing full well that could have just been Zoroark and that would have been a game loss. That just would have been the fattest game loss the world's ever seen. Like, if this Dragonite wastes its Terra, locks into a move, and knowing my Ursaluna has potential for Ghost Terra too, I couldn't believe that they did this. I was just like absolutely flabbergasted. I was absolutely flabbergasted. And so when this sort of stuff happens to you in your own games, in my opinion, and you've already lost, you want to try your best to like not show as much of your defensive EVs. Obviously, a Sash Amoonguss isn't going to be that bulky. But at this point, I'm just trying to like fish for info to be like, okay, what do they bring in the back? Are they actually trying to surround this with like Chi-Yu Flutter, or are they trying to surround this with like Ogerpon Rilla? I really want to know if they're bringing Rilla here. So I'm trying to think like, what can I do to elongate the game just a little bit? So maybe I can get like 1 KO. Because like basically they threw the Hail Mary all in play on the first of the game. Like imagine if that was a Zoroark. Imagine. They would have like, and that's not a multi-scale Dragonite. That's an inner focus Dragonite. They just would have got one-shotted on Dragonite. Shimpow would have got its Sash clocked. Ursaluna has the ability to like double dip into either of those with the Vacuum Wave too. So like they could have lost both of their Mons that turn. But instead, we're most likely losing the first game. So, you know, we're going to go Ghost Terra on our Ursaluna just because I don't want to die to E-Speed, even though they're most likely going to hit the other thing. Even though that could have been Zoroark too, you know? The mid-game Zoroark is really, really strong, in my opinion. It's really, really strong. So, but people just don't play around. We get the Effect Spore Sleep. Yo, we take those all the way to the bank. I think I clicked Spore into that slot, so it's not the funniest thing. It's not the worst thing. But, you know, it is what it is. We go for that just to not die. Hyper Voice comes in. Ursaluna's Hyper Voice is not as strong as Zoroark's is, because Zoroark's is Spexed. But, yeah, you saw I spored into that slot. At this point, the only thing we really could do is just, like, Protect / Rage Powder and, like, try and get the one of their Mons off the board so then maybe I can see what they have in the back. And, again, that's the only thing I'm really trying to do here. So that's what I'm gonna do. I could have clicked Hyper Voice. Hyper Voice wouldn't have KO'd the Dragonite here. So I might as well just go for like a Vacuum Wave into the Shimpow. Guarantee get something off the board, right? This is also playing around Sucker Punch a little bit. This is an Icicle Crash Crunch Sucker Punch Shimpow. So we take that guy with Vacuum Wave. I really do like Vacuum Wave on Ursaluna. I think it's very, very good. This team's a little bit weak to Shimpow, and Vacuum Wave being able to hit for 4 times super effective, forcing those situations where they have to Sucker Punch when you have a little bit of redirection, it's really, really nice. So that being said, we are still planning on losing this game, but I'm just elongating it out, because I wanted to see Rilla. That's the only thing. I'm like, are they Rilla in the back or not? Because the rest of my team does have a little bit of a weakness to Grass and Grassy Glide in general. So I just wanted to see what happens. And of course, because the Dragonite is asleep, and yes, they did show the Rilla, I'm like, well, I'll just play it out. Like, if they want to be bad, and I also don't know how fast the Rilla is. Remember, like I said, this is a full speed Ursaluna. Think about it. Like, if you clicked Grassy Glide, it didn't KO my Ursaluna, and I got to go for like a Hyper Voice plus Sludge Bomb, you would have just lost. Or maybe even like, if your Rillaboom was like speed reduced 0 speed, my Moongus would potentially be faster than you in some situations, depending on what your item choice is. So like, I decided to play like this turnout. Yes, I am revealing a little bit of what I'm using, but because I have to show my Urshifu in the back. But at the same time, like, we're just trying to, you know, gather info. You can't win every single game, and it's unfortunate that, like, you know, game 1 went this terribly, but also at the same time I have a notebook out. And I'm trying to think, like, what can I be doing in, like, Game 2, right? In Game 2, because they want to over-respect Talonflame that much, you know, we're going to hit this guy back pretty hard. I think we're going to hit this guy back pretty hard. And, yeah, I just think Zoroark is, like, such a good Pokemon right now. I think Zoroark is so good. And this guy obviously disrespected our ability to have Zoroark, like, almost every turn of the game. So I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, I didn't see the Flutter, which is the one thing I didn't know if I would want to really play against, because remember their team, you know, like I said, we're going to lose this one. So, you know, they have Chi-Yu Flutter, and, like, I don't know if that Flutter is, like, full speed, but if it's, like, a bulky Specs Flutter, our Zoroark could even outspeed. So, that being said, I do think Zoroark is a better Mon to bring. I think I tried to Sludge Bomb something here. Maybe? Nah, it doesn't really matter. And then we just take the L, and we go into Game 2. So, remember, the title of the stream that we're doing today on Twitch TV /THATSAplusONE is, I lose one match, and the stream ends. So, I'm forced into a situation where I have to win. In these situations in the first round of the tournament, you have to win the first round. Otherwise, your tiebreakers are so shit. At a regional, if you go, it's X2 cut into day 2. But in an online tour like this, you need good resistance, right? You need it. This is content. Yo, watch this. Here we go. Monk, gifting a sub. Monk, thank you so much for the gifted sub. Appreciate it. Hopefully, we're having an absolutely amazing evening and great weekend. They weed the exact same weed. And we led the same way as well, but you can see one of them is named Zoroark. We have swapped up the order, and I want them to think that the Blood Moon Ursaluna is Zoroark, and that's why it's in the first slot, which is where Zoroark would be on my team. I want them to think that's Zoroark. So I want them to go all in on this Talonflame. Last time they went all in on this Talonflame, and I'm reaffirming to them, yes, please hit the Talonflame. You know that you want to hit the Talonflame. So Ursaluna's doing the exact same play. I don't want to lose this Ursaluna. Like, I don't want them to double into that slot so hard, like, you know, suck a bunch of E-Speed that thing thinking it's Zoroark, because it is, or I want them to think that it is. No, they go for the Icicle Crash in that slot. They get absolutely nothing out of it. And then they eat an absolutely massive Choice Specs Hyper Voice. And I think they outraged that turn, or did they E-Speed? I don't care. It does not matter. But we're good. Yeah, I think they E-Speed. Yeah, they E-Speeded. Yo, yeah, see the value there? And I'm thinking to myself, like, I got Sucker Punches up. Like, dude, I got it all. There we go, E-Speed. But thanks, guys, for stopping by. Appreciate the sub. You know, I think Zoroark's actually, like I said, very, very good. And, like, I think I might take it to San Antonio Regionals. I've, since using this team, made a really, really cool version of it that's really, really nice. They're pivoting out the Shempao, which is a good play. Pivot out Shempao, which is a good play. In for Rillaboom. Monk gifting a sub. Yo, Monk, what do you want to see me run at San Antonio Regionals? What do you want to see me run? And thank you so much. I appreciate it, yo. I appreciate it. I'm trying my absolute best out here. Doing everything I can. I swap out the Zoroark to avoid a Shempao Sucker Punch, because even though I had up Ursaluna and I could click something like Vacuum Wave, I didn't want to get Sucker Punched before then. So we're going to go Ghost Terra just to make sure we block this E-Speed. And I do think that, like, Ghost Terra Blood Moon Ursaluna is, like, such a cool mon. I had to gift one more, so I'd be at a total of 50 gifted subs. Well, you know what? You're helping me out. I do appreciate it. And E-Speed's going to whiff. Big Hyper Voice puts that Dragonite within range of, you know, an E-Speed. If I wanted to, or sorry, an E-Speed, a Vacuum Wave, right? Because it is normal Terra. So, like, right here, we're in a pretty decent spot, right? Like, the Shempao's Sash broken and low. The Dragonite is Choice Locked and low. Yeah, Rilla can do something, but we can't really Fake Out. The Rillaboom moveset is Stomping Tantrum, Woodhammer, Grassy Glide, Fake Out, AV. So it's not like it has knockoff or anything either. So yeah, I'm just chilling. I could protect Amoonguss this turn, but I think pivoting in Zoroark to block like a Fake Out / like block an E-Speed is just a better play. You know that they're going after the Ursaluna slot with anything. So this is a free turn to just swap the Zoroark back in my opinion. So Amoonguss pivots out because, like, they're just going to E-Speed there. And I don't really want up Amoonguss right now. Amoonguss just doesn't really do that much for Rilla. I want to see whatever makes you win. But Zoroark is fun because it brings a bit of unpredictability to a format where people rely on knowing what you have. It's so good. I can't believe they actually clicked Stomping Tantrum, dude. Never lucky. Zoroark takes some damage. I really thought they were just going to double into the Ursaluna. But at the same time, they're just going to take the fat L, and, you know, we do be taking those. Dragonite down. Raid Boss Dragonite down. And, yeah, they have Grassy Glide. Yeah, they can come out with Shempao. It has Sucker Punch. But, like, we still got all 4 of our Mons, and one of them's a Talonflame. I think Talonflame is another, like, really, really underrated pick. Everyone's out here with, like, their Ogre Pawns and their Rillabooms, and, like, we could use Talonflame, and, like, they got their Urshifus, and we could use Talonflame, and everything else can get burned. It's just so nice. So they send out their Fire Pawn here. Note that they've already Terra'd, so we don't really Terra that much. And we can just click the damage buttons. We want to we already Terrastalize as well, so we can't Terrastalize Zoroark, but yeah, I think that, like, this is one of the situations where, like, Choice Specs Protect could be kind of cute, but we don't even need to. You can Grassy Glide KO the Zoroark. That means you're not bonking my Ursaluna, and we're just good to go. The next Zoroark that I use, I will tell you guys, is going to be a little bit bulkier than this one, but it's absolutely fine. If you want to do that, you're not Woodhammering me. And they go for the Swords Dance, which I think is a good play. I don't think that they would have been able to KO Ursaluna with just an Ivy Cudgel. So, like, they have to eat this, and then from there, I just bring out Talonflame. It's so good. Is Facade so good? It is, but not on this guy. This is a special attacker. I like the Hyper Voice synergy, too, because which one is Zoroark, right? Throwing in a Pixelate Sylveon. Ooh, that's dicey. Yeah, I could see it. Yeah. They have no idea. But, yeah, in this situation, you know, Talonflame just kind of cleans up, right? Talonflame just does whatever it wants. Even if you want to go, like, Spiky Shield, break my Gale Wings, like, it doesn't really matter that much, because, like, we can always make sure the Shempao can't go for, well, you'll see what happens. You know, we have this one pretty locked up. Pretty locked up. They didn't respect the Zoroark, man. They didn't respect the Zoroark, so we're able to flex just a little bit. And this team is hard to play, the team that we're using. But man, was this team fun to use. I don't think I've had like a team that's been this fun to use in probably like, let me see, maybe like 8 months. The last time I had a team that was like this much fun to use in like a tournament setting was probably like 8 months ago. But yeah, like I feel like I can be me when I play this team. You know, it has all the weird mons. Did you choose a Hisuian Zoroark for the immunity against fighting and E-Speed? So with this team, you want to use Hisui Zoroark, right? With this team, you want Hisuian Zoroark, mostly because the rest of the mons are incredibly susceptible to Fake Out. And their terras aren't like ghost terras on all the other ones, like the Amoonguss. You can Fake Out the Amoonguss, you can Fake Out the Urshi, you can Fake Out the Talonflame, and it says like, please overcommit, which is what we want them to do. So the ghost typing on the Zoroark is what we really, really wanted. But that being said, regular Zoroark has massive value. There is such a reason. If you guys want the crash course, do you guys want the actual like 2 things that regular Zoroark can do? Regular Zoroark still gets Copycat, which is nuts. So you can pair like a special attacker regular Zoroark next to like an Urshifu and go Surging Strikes, Copycat Surging Strikes, right? Or you can pair it next to a Tauren and go like Bleak Wind, Copycat Bleak Wind. And those are kind of nutty. But there's even other moves. I don't know, like I'll give a preview of something I might be working with for San Antonio. Shed Tail, bring in the Dozo. Copycat Shed Tail. You've seen me do it with Mimikyu before. Zoroark can do it, and you don't know if that's ever going to happen or not, or what's going on, right? So, like, I can lead a board that looks like Cyclozar Dozo, and you think I'm just going to Shed Tail in the Tatsu, but actually am Shed Tailing, bringing in a Dozo, copycatting, bringing in my Tatsu where they both get a sub and they both have and all the boosts go off, but you don't know which one's really Dozo ever. And what are you going to do in that situation? In that situation, you always hit the Dozo, right? Which is not even a real Mon. It turns into the Tatsu, and then it goes inside the real Dozo and they both have subs, right? Oh my gosh, there's so much to do with Zoroark. And this Zoroark is the only one that can do that one, because this is the one that gets Copycat. New Tauros forms can be good. Water Tauros checks both Urshifus. No, I don't like the water. Those Tauroses aren't good, in my opinion. I don't think they are. I think you're better off with. If you're going to be running like a Mon that's weak to Flutter and has Intimidate, you could run Landorus. You know, you could run Salamence. I think most people run Salamence nowadays. But anyways, you can see this one, we are going to be able to close this one out. There's just nothing they can actually do. We just have Redirection Brave Bird for days. I think Talonflame's still a very, very good Pokemon, and people should use it. They're elongating the game through use of Protect. They're probably thinking what they're doing in Game 3, but it's not enough to beat me. It's not enough, dude. We had our backs to the wall, and we Zoroarked out. And we take those wins all the way to the bank. So we're going to go into Game 3. So in Game 3, if you're the Zoroark player, how much experience do you think you need? How much guts, how much gusto do you think you need to be lean into the Zoroark? What would you do with Zoroark in a Game 3 situation? Would you lead with Zoroark? Would you bring Zoroark in the back? Would you say, I'm not even using Zoroark, and you're going to think that I am, and you're going to mess up. You're going to close combat, something that... I don't know. You're going to try and make a read. You're going to go for a big dark attack into my Urshi Dark, right? Why do you think Ogre Punch drops off so much from Regi? It's just not, well, it hasn't. It hasn't. If you're talking about regional statistics, every single Ogre Punch form is a different Pokemon. So the fact that any of them are in the top 12 means it's actually everywhere. But yeah, you can see we didn't bring Zoroark as the lead. And that's fine. I'm really thinking they're gonna... What are they gonna do? What are they gonna do? Where's the Zoroark? Huh? Where's the Zoroark? This game that we play... I'm trying to make a fat read this game, by the way. I think I just go for I think I protect Talonflame. Yeah, I like this play because it would stop the E-Speed, and if I had to swap in a normal type, I could. But then I also just go for the close combat into the Dragonite, because if they did normal Terra, and if they did go, the right play in this situation is Sucker Punch plus E-Speed into the Talonflame spot, because either A, you're killing the Talonflame, or B, you're killing the Zoroark, and no matter what, that stops my speed control. So they didn't do that. Can I share with you something I'm somewhat testing to see your thoughts? Yeah, go for it. But anyways, they didn't Terra. Good play from them, by the way. Not tearing, even though they could have still had the, they could have stopped this. They could have stopped the bleeding. But now that they're locked in Outrage, that's game. You just messed up, bro. Because now I just wisp your Shenpao, and now I just Wicked Blow your Dragonite, and you're done because your Dragonite's banded, right? So it's like, the Zoroark mind games. The Zoroark mind games are having an effect. They did not click the E-Speed. And now they can't. So we just hit a Wisp. Easier said than done. Like I said, I still think Talonflame is really, really good in these formats. And yeah, Shenpao outspeeds, but Shenpao can't KO anything while burned. You know, it still does a lot to Talonflame. But now we can just KO the Dragonite. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And the Shenpao loses its Sash, loses all of its damage, and now what we can do is actually kind of just ignore that Shenpao slot if we wanted to, and just nuke the guy's teammate every turn, right? And so they have to send out things like Flutter. We also still have, like, Talonflame, which is a pretty fast Pokemon, that should just be able to Tailwind over most things. So if you send out, like, an Ogre Pawn here, you know, you're going to be Ogre gone, because your Shenpao also lowers its stats. So it's like, what do you even do? What do you even do against the almighty unstoppable force that is Zoroark? So there's the Ogre Pawn, just like I said. Now, they haven't Terra'd, but Urshi don't care. You know, so that's the thing, is like, in Game 1, you play it kind of standard. Game 2, you hit him with the actual Zoroark shenanigans. And then in Game 3, you just say, what? I wanted to click Tailwind and Wicked Blow. You never seen anyone do that before? And you just roll them over. You get that Zoroark worm in their head. And so they're going to go Fire Terra. But remember, they have a Shenpao on the board. So it's like they're cutting their own stats. And I don't remember if I Terra this Urshi. I don't think that I do, because I would have already had to do it. Because this Urshi's faster because we got our Tailwind up. And note that our Talonflame is still faster than their Shenpao in this situation. It's actually kind of important. It didn't matter, in my opinion. But like I think that it's, you know, we take those all the way to the bank. It's probably Adamant Shenpao versus Jolly Talonflame. So yep, we take an Icicle Crash in the face, and we still live, you know, which means we would have been able to live a Crunch or anything like that too. That's why I said it didn't really matter. And we're just in a great spot. Their Terra's down, their Dragonite's down, their Shenpao's burned, they have a Rillaboom coming in the back. Yeah, like I said, Talonflame is just like really, really good. Yo, what's poppin'? Not much, just Talonflame energy right now. Just Talonflame energy. So let's see what they're going to do. Trying to remember. I also, like, it says, like, there's an upcoming ad break on Twitch, and normally I can snooze them. It won't even let me snooze this one. Never lucky. It's fine. They just scooped the game up right there, because it was pretty much donezo. So that was Game 1. Again, our opponent's team looked like that. That was our opponent's team. Really, really good stuff. Really, really good stuff. Now, I'm going to show you guys round 2. And you guys are going to absolutely, like, lose your shit in this one. So their team is right here. Their team is Sash, Flutter. Get me out of here. Magnet, Regieleki. We see Tornadus with Goggles, Chi-Yu, Life Orb, Ogre Pawn, Water, and Indity Female. This is, I think, the exact same 6 as that one team that top cut that international with, like, I think it got 2nd place, right? With, like, Regieleki and Chi-Yu and Indity. We're going to have a good time with this one. So we're going to go into Game 1. And you can see I'm going to go Palafin for this one. I think Palafin is a good mon. I hadn't used it yet. So yeah, no Volt Switch. You don't need Volt Switch on Regieleki. Because, like, you don't need Volt Switch if there's nothing you're pivoting into. It's all sweepers. This team's all sweepers, right? So it's like there's nothing that you would pivot in. you know, Volt Switch is good if you have like something to pivot in between. Got to get that resub for my boy. That's +1. Yo, thank you. Thank you for that resub. I appreciate it. Hope you're having an absolutely amazing weekend. We are out here showing you guys the professional way to play Zoroark in VGC 2023 Regulation E. And this is another one of those games where like I'm trying my best to like learn the flowcharts, get a little bit outside my comfort zone. And Palafin Luna, ooh, dude, talk about like checked. Like, bro, I needed an adult. I really thought we'd see a little bit more flutter. I still thought we'd see a little bit of torn, and I thought we'd be able to like condition them into still setting Tailwind. They were just like, look at this man. Look at this man. Watch what he does, right? I think we just say we're probably a little bit fine. Look at what this guy does to me. Turn 1, straight up, just like the last round in game 1. These people, they give me no respect. I get none. I'm getting turn 1 Terrad and all in. Like, if the Mon, they're hitting my Luna. If that Luna, like, you see what I'm doing? I'm doing the self-policy proc. But you should be doing this situation, in my opinion, because you have Protect on both those Mons, and you want to see where the Zoroark is, you should just double Protect and see where the Zoroark is if there's a Zoroark. And if not, you're fine, right? But nah, he's like, Ursaluna, I can hit that with this Ice attack. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, bro? I just like, what if I just terastallized or like did Protect or like did literally anything else? So don't know. I don't know why they go they say go long, like turn 1, you know, just, hey, you know what? But hey, you know what that shows me? That shows me going into game 2, they are a player that disrespects Zoroark. Just like the last person. Like, they do not know. They don't want that smoke. They don't know what Palafin does. So again, in this situation, we lost the first game. This game is probably lost. So we're just trying to like see if we can KO like any of these things. And if we can KO like one of them, we can see, well, are they bringing that mid game Torn? Are they going to go Ogre? Are they trying to bring Ogre Pawn in this matchup? Maybe a little bit of Flutter. You know, I just want to see a little bit more of their team. I want to see if we can force the Entity out. That's why I sent that Talonflame out in the first place, but it's just not looking good for our hero, right? It's just not looking good for our hero. And you know what? Like, Zoroark doesn't come, and we lose. You know, it's going to be a pattern, right? But yeah, like, we're getting big messed up here. And, big messed up. And remember, like, the stream title is, like, if I lose one match, I lose. I'm putting big stakes on these games. So we come in Palafin, we're transformed, like we're ready to go. And so I'm like, if you have an Indidi, this is where you bring it in. So at least we're going to be able to play the game long enough to like see if there's an Indidi somewhere. And so again, I'm just trying to like wait the game out just a little bit. I do go for the Jet Punch, and I'm thinking like, where do we Jet Punch, you know? You've already Terrad. Maybe you can show me a little bit more Chi-Yu spread, or, you know, I think like Lucky would probably Protect, which it does. Again, we're just trying to see like where the rest of your Mons are. Because if you didn't bring it, and you didn't, like, now you double Protect, right? Now you double Protect. Never Lucky, bro. And that's a really good double Protect from our opponent, though, because it makes me waste my Protect, and now you just flowchart and you just roll over the things to put the Protect up. And if you have Indidi, you swap it in, right? So, yeah, Palafin gets its leftovers proc, but not really that much that it can do in this situation. Like, Regieleki Chi-Yu's a bit of a bully. So, do I go for the double Protect? I'm trying to think, like, what I do here. Because, again, I still want to see, like, what the last two Mons are. I'm assuming that it's going to be Ogre Pawn and Indidi. But, like, we don't really know. And so they pivot out one. They finally pivot out the Alecki. In for the Indidi, and I'm like, okay, we can see things. I can use my eyeballs to analyze this situation, because if you have the Indidi, you're not going to have Torn, right? So they're not going to be bringing Torn. It could be Flutter, but it's most likely Ogre Pawn based off how they're playing this team. So it's good to know, you know? And basically, we just Protect here, and I think they just absolutely melt my Amoonguss, right? Yep. So what you gonna do, right? What you gonna do? We're taking this time to think, what do we need to do differently for game 2? Because game 1, they just led. They didn't even bring Torn, which I still think you should be bringing Torn against me. So the fact that they didn't bring Torn, we can do things a little bit different, because we have a Talonflame. right? We can set a Tailwind, and then we have mons that are faster than Regieleki and Tailwind. So they disrespected me in game 1, just like the person in the first round, dude. Never, I get no respect out here using Hisui Zoroark. So this is where we're going into game 2. You see I have Zoroark, Talonflame. I like to put my Zoroark in the second slot sometimes, because like realistically Zoroark, if you're just going to select it right up, if you know you're going to bring Zoroark and you just select it, it's going to be on our left. Which is why sometimes when I go for some mind games, I put Zoroark on the right-hand side, because people would think, well, if it is Zoroark, it's at the top of the team preview, you'd select it first, it'd be on our left-hand side. We're playing around that. I think this is one of those little mind games that would work against somebody like this. So, they go Regieleki and Chi-Yu. Now, also, my Zoroark is disguised as a Blood Moon Ursaluna. Remember, we talked about the cool thing, you can go for, like, Hyper Voice, and they don't know who's who. So, you see, I'm going to go normal Terra, right, which is my Zoroark's Terra to double dip my Hyper Voice damage, and a Tailwind, because we're going to be able to outspeed both those Pokemon. They do the exact same thing. So, they're going, they see Ursaluna, they see the blood in the water, and they're like, I know how to beat this. They click that Ice Terra again. They click that Ice Terra again, right? And remember, they're not the only one that's terastallizing. I'm also clicking the Terastallize button. And right here, right about here, we see our opponent start talking in the chat. Now what they say is, let me bring up the chat. So, let's bring up the chat here. So you can see, this is the end of game 1, like we're setting the code. I say GLHF, they say GLHF back. They won game 1. Right when the Ursaluna shows that it's normal Terra, I get the immediate requesting of a judge, and the guy's like, hey, and I'm laughing because I know what's up. He's like, Ursaluna is wrong, it's not Terra Ghost, which is what my team sheet says. Remember, my team sheet says the Ursaluna is supposed to be Ghost. This man, frame 1, called judge immediately. I am still Terra, like I'm still in the Terra animation. I'm like, bro, it's Zoroark. I just tell him, like, immediately, I'm like, bro, it's just Zoroark. The judge request has been cleared. I laughed so hard at this. And I probably shouldn't, right? I probably shouldn't. But that man wanted the free win so badly. Oh, yeah. Wasn't he? Yeah. So badly. It's caps locks, too. Like, oh, he's like, free win, my win. You're cheating. And I'm like, oh, dude. So, we're playing out this turn here. I go for a Tailwind. Zoroark has a 110 base speed. I'm still actually cracking up about it. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. This is a Choice Specs normal Terra Hyper Voice. With a Chi-Yu on the board, that Regieleki is donezo. Nice Terra. I don't even care. So Regieleki's done. Tailwind's also up, which means, yeah, you can Heat Wave, you can Snarl, you could do whatever you want to do. You don't even get the KO on the Zoroark because we lose that Ghost typing. So we get to keep both our Mons too, but yeah, Talonflame just beats up all the guys. There's the Zoroark right there. So, yeah, we're just playing more of the game. We're just playing more of the game, you know. And at this point, realistically, like, I got the Tailwind up. And we've already kind of confirmed, based off you showing Entity in game 1, that you're not going to be that, like, mid-game Tornadus player. So, you know, we're able to just kind of win. You know, like, what are you going to do? You know? You send out Water Pond, and, like, it can Spiky Shield, I guess, but, like, yeah, you're like, it's Zoroark, and he's like, I remove my request for the judge. I should have called the judge again and be like, nah, you have to show the judge that you can't read, bro. But anyways, yeah, we just take it. You know, there's not that much they can really do about it. Talonflame takes a ton of recoil, Life Orb damage. I think Talonflame actually faints this turn, but it's not really an issue. So that's going to be game 2, right? Zoroark just kind of rolled him over. You got to be this tall to ride. And Zoroark just got it right out of reach. The way to beat this kind of Zoroark play is to bring just like a little bit faster Pokemon, force me to trade Tailwinds, and then punish me. So there are things that like the Zoroark is not like amazing against, but like they're not doing it. So we gaming out here. If they were to do that, if they were to lead like Lecky and Torn, I'd actually probably click the Choice Specs Protect, Tailwind lose. the Talonflame send out the Ursaluna that we're disguised as, and they don't actually know who's what in that situation. Even if they have like a torn Regieleki board, they can't hit both. He had an early pop-off. Yeah, no, it's funny. He had an early pop-off, and yeah, there's nothing Entity can really do here, right? They're like, where'd all the Pokemon go? Where'd they go? You get 2 turns out of this Entity, but the double Hyper Voice spam is very, very nice. They go for the Psychic. They're just learning a little bit more about my Ursaluna spread, which is completely fine. They know it's not a 2-shot, but I am pretty speedy. So we're going to be going into game 3, and if... So... This gets even better, because if you thought that was all that this game had, there's more. We're going to be doing a mid-game Zoroark. We're bringing it in the middle game, so we have a little bit of a good aggressive Tailwind opening. And now we're back to the Ursaluna back at the front, right? So it's like, game 1 it was really Ursaluna. Game 2 it was Zoroark. Game 3 we're back to being Ursaluna again, but we have like a secondary Zoroark disguised as a Amoonguss coming out in the middle of the game. And I think the mid-game Zoroark, especially just like the mid-game Palafin and the mid-game Torn, like players that know enough about more than just the lead options to go and put those sort of things that are commonly leads in the middle of the game to flowchart them in correctly and not just lose all of their tempo. It's cool. It's really, really cool. It takes a lot of balls to do stuff like that, because you can't just send the Amoonguss out or it'll make Zoroark not work. So you always have to like make your flowcharts up to where when one of these dies, it has to be Zoroark coming in, and you're solving for X big time. So they go Indeedee and Regieleki, and I'm like, this is actually, we're just fine. Like, does not really matter what you're going to do here. So we can do a lot of different stuff. So we just go Hyper Voice, which again, you don't know which is which. Are you going to Thunderbolt this Ursaluna? Are you going to Thunderbolt it? Do you think it's a Zoroark? You know? What's the under on the Ice Terror again? I'm like, what's the damage? It's an 80 base power move. But yeah, they're thinking like, who are they going after this turn? Are they getting the Tailwind off the board? Is it Tailwind? Is it Zoroark? See, like the mind games, dude, they're so big right now. Right now, I can't Brave Bird here either, because the Entity lead. And I'm actually happy to see the Entity as a lead. It's a very, very passive lead, and I now can just like go with like a fodder Tailwind. Best case scenario for me, you're just letting me get up a Tailwind and then like punching my Regieleki. But you see my board right here, right? So we go for the Protect here. And I go for just a free Hyper Voice because I don't want to just lose Talonflame if I have to. They go for a Psychic here. They're scouting for where the Zoroark is. Now, realistically, it could still be Zoroark in that Talonflame, because all you saw was Protect, which Zoroark does have on its spec set, and it is a mon that is slower than Regieleki. So the right play is the double into that Talonflame slot. But, like, it could have been Zoroark. You don't know. He's still thinking. But yeah, because we know that, then it's most likely going to be a... It's most likely going to be like a Thunderbolt into the Talonflame and a Psychic into the Ursaluna, which they high rolled this time, which actually shows that it can KO. So I think I actually just see like a Tailwind Protect. And then from there, I'm probably going to be able to bring out the Zoroark. And then once I have that Tailwind up, I just go Hyper Voice, both are dead, I win the game. What do you do about it? What do you do about it? You're not going to be in mid-game Torn. You've already shown that you don't do that. So here we go. So Thunderbolt takes out Talonflame. We do not lose our Ursaluna. And it's time. The mid-game Zoroark. We got up our Tailwind. And so we got up Tailwind, and they see this Amoonguss, and they're like, huh, even with Tailwind, I still outspeed these things. Entity's great against Amoonguss. Regieleki can Ice Terra versus Amoonguss and Blood Moon. This is free. I just go Terra Ice, and I just go, it should be rinse and repeat, easy peasy lemon squeezy. But there's an elephant in the room called Hisuian Zoroark, disguised as Amoonguss. See the normal Terra on top. They did not go for the Terra. I was very surprised. I thought we'd be baiting it out. But this is a Choice Specs one, so one shot's their Lecky. It's going to make us do single target Hyper Voice damage versus their Indeedee. Right? Indeedee goes down, and our opponent's like, hey, Zoroark, hey. You know? Like, yeah, man, that's Zoroark. It is Zoroark. It is Zoroark. You're correct. You're correct that it is Zoroark. Oh, man. And so, Okay, they send out Chi-Yu and they have Ogerpon, but I just do the same thing. Like, even if you were to Terra either of these, I think this Chi-Yu is like a Fire Terra. That double Hyper Voice just gets it. There's nothing you can actually even do about it, right? Even if you go like Water Terra on your Water Pawn and get the +1 special defense boost, Chi-Yu's still shredding your Spadef, right? So I just basically rolled him over. So it's right around this point that they're like talking to me in the chat. I'll show you guys the chat in just a second. I want to show you guys how much damage this actually does. And this game was like the best game of my life. So they get the Embody Aspect, +1 to Spadef, right? And they go for Protect Chi-Yu, not bad. And you can see, look at this damage, look at it. So Choice Specs, Hyper Voice, Chi-Yu damage shred on board. Big damage. Oh my gosh, you see that damage. And then we see the Hyper Voice from the Ursaluna as well. And Stab Ursaluna turns out pretty good. So right when they lost that Ogerpon, they go and they're like, they're like, hey, Zoroark, you know, I talked about Zoroark scam. And I'm like, scam? Like, what do you mean scam? And they're like, I mean, I thought it was Amoongus. And I'm like, that's the point. Like, I don't know, man. I shouldn't be this happy about it. Because he's so genuine. You know, he's so... Gullible is too offensive of a word, I would say. But, like, he's so pure. It's like, Zoroark, he tricked me. You tricked me. And I'm like, yeah, man, that's what I did. Hey, but they disrespect me so bad in game 1, dude. You can't tell me when I'm using this team, you can't tell me that I don't have enough hatred. Like, I have it. The hatred's real with this team. I have it. I'm ready to do, like, the one thing, and I think they get a double protect on me. They get a double protect on me, and they wait up my last turn to Tailwind. And they make things dicier than it needs to be, but we still take those wins, because when they're also doing is waiting out their side terrain, which means we can click one of those little buttons called Vacuum Wave, super effective into the Chi-Yu, easy peasy, lemon squeezy-dees. And, yeah, we take this one too. But yeah, that whole thing where they're like, they tried to call the judge on me, and then they, like, didn't know how Zoroark worked. That was just, it was fun. I'm thinking, like, what I should do, yeah. I'm just laughing. Like, I'm sitting here, I'm recording this, I'm not even streaming it. I'm just laughing, bro. Funniest games I've ever seen in my life. That's decent damage still. Chi-Yu doesn't shred its own Spadef, it's every other Pokemon. So... Zoroark's still a lot of damage, and we take those single target, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And we're going on undefeated into the 3rd round. Holy moly. Yo, we're out here. So we're going to go into the 3rd round. And we're going to take a look at our opponent's team. Taking a look at our opponent's team, and it's right here. So we see Fargiraffe, Shenpao, Rillaboom, Dragapult, Urshi, Heatran. Really, really cool team. What's the reason for Palafin over Urshi on this team? I love the Finn, but I feel like it's been hard to use ever since Urshi pulled up. I'm using an Urshifu. We have an Urshifu already. We can't use 2 of them. Right? So that's the reason. I think Palafin... So what I wanted to do with this team was have like a bunch of Mons that have like a very, very specific set of things they say that they do turn 1. So like Talonflame has Gale Wings, sets Tailwind, right? Urshi, you can't protect. You have to swap or mitigate or just kill it, right? Palafin, you know, it swaps, so you should be ignoring that slot. So if you're ignoring that slot or trying to double into it and you double into it with the wrong moves, you get Zoroarked, right? So a bunch of Mons that punish you for either overcommitting or playing passive in specific ways. I think I would cut the Palafin. I also will say I made this team almost 2 months ago now. So it's like this team's dated as fuck. So like Palafin would have been a better pick when I made the team. But Palafin's going to come in this set, I think. Their team's actually kind of cool. I think as long as we take out the Rillaboom, Palafin has a pretty decent matchup into a lot of their Mons. So that being said, let's just go into it. But we also... And so I've lost the first game of both of these sets. And I've just been bullied. And I've been abused. And they just don't respect Zoroark in both these sets. And so, looking back... like reviewing this game, I think I should have just led Talonflame because they don't have Fake Out on anything other than on Rillaboom. And I thought they were going to lead it. But I could just set Tailwind and they kind of just like lose to like all of my team. I think like if I would have had one more game, I think I could have done something different here. But look at what we do here. So I'm trying to be as memey as possible in the first game every time. It's Urshifu, Ursaluna. I'm like, okay, I tried the Jet Punch weakness policy proc. I've tried using Palafin. It's time to lead with 2 strong bears and just win the game. I'm clicking the buttons. Now, I could click the Wicked Blow into that Fire Giraffe. I could click so many different things. I could click Endure here, and there's just a bunch of things I can do. There's a bunch of things. Do I click the Endure? I do click the Endure, don't I? Oh. Yeah, I remember this person that actually played this so well. Like, look at this. Oh, man, I get absolutely blown out of the water in this first game. Do I click it? No, I think I still do the thing. No, it's fine. I click Endure. The plan I thought would be that they were going to close combat my Urshi, or they were going to double dip. They have Dazzling Gleam on that Far Draft, and I wanted the +1 speed boost. This is a Scarf Urshi we're playing against. I also thought that, doesn't that look like that doesn't KO? Doesn't that look like I live at like 4 HP? It looks like I live. And I was like, okay, they're going to like D-Gleam or do something. As long as I don't lose my Urshi, I can get a +1 speed boost from my Salic Berry. I'm going to double KO them both back after my weakness policy, but instead I died. And then it gets like even weirder because like they doubled into that slot and they didn't even click D-Gleam, and like I don't even get my Salic Berry proc, and I'm like, god damn it, like this team is too tech. Is trying to do too much. And so again, what do we do when we get to this point in every single game that we overextend? We just try and be like, all right, cool, I just want to know what mons you're bringing in the back. Are you bringing Rilla? Are you bringing Heatran? Just tell me a little bit more about your playstyle. And go. Otherwise, you know, I would just run. I think I'm trying to force them to like swap because again, that's a Scarf Urshi. And so I'm like, I think that they're just going to swap it. And they don't really have that many good swaps. So, like, if I was them, I would just swap it out. But, you know, because, like, if they Surging Strikes me and do it wrong, they just proc my Salic Berry and take all the damage. And then I Spore their Far Giraffe. And the next turn, I just go Redirection, kill their Far Giraffe. And then, like, I actually could win because I have Redirection. Plus, they have stuff that's asleep. You know, we could win there. That's the idea. Redirection's really good. But, yeah, they just go Surging Strikes right in my Urshi. They're not doing enough to activate my Salic Berry, so I'm thinking that they're Jolly Scarf Urshi, which is the same way I'd play Urshi. I thought they'd be Adamant, which would have procced my my Salic Berry. That being said, I thought they were going to swap, so they didn't, and I'm sad. But then, like, Amoonguss is able to do Amoonguss things, and note that I Spore their Far Giraffe. I'm faster than they are. I'm faster than that Far Giraffe. They tried to Dazzle and Gloomy, and I said, no thanks. No Psychic either. You can go do literally anything else. So that guy's asleep. And so now I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, well, now you swap. Because I can just click Rage Powder, and I can just one-shot your Far Giraffe, which would then put me in range to activate my Salic Berry. So now, surely you're swapping. And I'm trying to get an advantage by... I'm thinking that they're going to go like Heatran or something. I want to be able to Spore and Wicked Blow on the thing coming in. And so I think I'm trying to do too much. Yeah, I think I go for like a close combat here, right? I'm so bad. But... you know, at this point, like, honestly, I think I already have lost the first game just because, like, I had such an abysmal turn 1. And I don't want to go, like, all in on the Far Giraffe with my Urshifu either because it does have Fairy Tale. They could click that whenever they want, and they have Rocky Helmet. So it's like, it's not great. I just go for another Endure. I'm trying to get one more turn of the Endure and a Spore. I think it's a good play for me. I do think it's a good play. So I went with the Endure. I really thought they were going to go into the Urshi. And then I was going to Spore them. And then next turn, I was going to be able to do all the things I wanted. Because I still wanted that speed boost. But unluckily, I get an Effect Spore proc the same turn I go for Spore. And this is where it's like officially over for game 1. You know, I tried. I stayed in a couple turns. But, you know, you can't beat it. If you can't beat it, you can't beat it. They didn't fall for the Endure twice, bro. They never took the bait. And so, do I stay in here at all? There's like no reason. I'm like looking at what they have. I think I'm thinking about what I want to do in the next game. I really wanted to see some more mons. Maybe I think I just scoop it, right? So we take the L. Why Effect Spore? Doesn't it regenerate or synergize with Palafin? No! This is a full speed full special attack Amoonguss. It sits on the board and clicks Rage Powder until it dies. And it just kills things. It works in Tailwind. Yeah, the effect score is way better on this Amoonguss. Yo, Infected Truce dropping sub. 32 months. Holy moly. Holy moly. Thank you, my friend. 32 months. Hope you're having an absolutely amazing, wonderful night. Yeah, I think, obviously, Regenerator's great. Way better ability on Amoonguss, like 90% of situations. But, like, in this situation, I would say on this team, effect score is better. But thank you so much for the sub. Appreciate it. Yo, how goes it? So we're going into game 2, right? Where's this replay from? This replay is from Tommy's Saturday tour. So I played in one of Tommy's huge 100-player tournaments. But we're going into game 2, right? And remember, if I lose a match, then the stream ends. Stream's over if we lose a match. So they lead the exact same thing. This is the third person that's like beating the crap out of me so bad we conditioned them into just being like, yo, your lead's fine, bro. I suck. But I'm the one that's mixing things up. I have that Tailwind up. I got the big Zoroark up. And so we're able to just be like, bro, Talonflame's not something they would normally think is good versus Fargiraffe, but we do need Talonflame to then outspeed everything. And then if you hit me with the Fargiraffe by like clicking Psychic or Dazzling Gleam or something like that, I can just Brave Bird and not have to worry about the Armor Tail ability. So right now they're thinking like if they had Heatran here, they should have swapped it in, right? What are my only options? Like what? Hyper Voice and Will-O-Wisp? Yeah. They did not sit in this tournament with me. No, I played this tournament all by myself. I played it on Saturday morning. I think my wife went for a run. But we're going all in. And this is big Ursaluna Hyper Voice, but it's not Ursaluna, it's Specs Zoroark. And we're able to deal the big damage. The Tailwind's going to let us outspeed that Scarf Urshi. And we're able to be like, bruh. Whew, look at this. Y'all think Fluttermane's good? Flutter D's, bro. Get this Urshi out of here. Almost Oko's a Fargiraffe as well. And like Psychic into Zoroark is absolutely fine. We holding. We did it. We are holding. What are you going to bring out? Rillaboom? Heatran? Dragapult? I did the thing, right? So they bring out Heatran, which is absolutely a good Pokemon. Not that much I can really do against Heatran. So, like I'm thinking to myself, this Talonflame is not it. I'm just going to get some free damage. You're going to KO the Zoroark, but I'm going to KO the Fargiraffe, which means then I'm going to be able to Brave Bird whatever comes out. Am I playing the matches after the tournament overview? The title is confusing, but like this, it's very interesting. No. I already played the games. I already know when the stream ends. I already know. To be fair, I approached playing this tournament with the exact same rule set, though. So, the rule set of if I lose one game, I'd stop playing. Or one set. So, anyways, we KO the Fargiraffe who doesn't have Protect. Talonflame sits back for a bit. And, like, what do they have in the back? They could send Rillaboom out. They could send Shempao out. They could send Dragapult out. All those mons take massive damage from Talonflame. So, like, we're in a really, really good spot. We've already KO'd 2 of their mons. They have a Heatran, yes, but it's been softened up by these Hyper Voices. And we still have, like, a lot of really, really good Pokemon left. Like, Ursaluna is a good mon into Heatran. So we're just going to send it out. And we also already showed Ursaluna here. Remember, Zoroark was disguised as Ursaluna. So it's a good idea to send out the mon that, like, Zoroark was. If you're trying to preserve information and not show that you even have Amoonguss in the matchup, you don't need to bring it out. You just go like this. And so what are you going to do here? Are you going to go for, this Shempao had Ice Cold Crash, Sucker Punch, Protect, Sacred Sword. So they have all the good moves. But yeah, we can just wisp that thing. And what are you going to do? Heat Wave? I don't care. You Heat Wave these L's, bro. Am I turbo? Yes, I am. I'm full speed special attack. I am. I outspeed that Shempao. I should have probably clicked Hyper Voice, but I wanted to be able to just double dip it, and I think I made the right choice here. It's the best Ursa set, hands down. I think it is. Yeah. People like to think Fluttermane's good. Ursaluna's like a Fluttermane that just doesn't die. Like, if you compare, like, bulky Flutter with, like, speedy Ursa, they're the same thing. Except for one's not checked by ghosts. So, yeah, we just double dip the Shempao. And remember, like I said, we had more speed than them in the Tailwind, so we still would have been able to like avoid a Sucker Punch. And then, yeah, we don't care about this Heatran. So we did a really, really good job about bouncing back in that Game 3. They miss a Heat Wave. It doesn't matter. We're so bulky. Yo, thank you for the follow as well. Appreciate it. Appreciate the follows. But, yeah, this one's going to be it for Game 2. Brave Bird, look at this damage. That's still a lot of damage, something that's resisting it. What is up? Not much. We're just reviewing this game. So, we get the KO on the Heatran, and we win the game. Cool. And their team preview, they told me, this is a Citrus Berry up here. And, because they have, like, Protect. This is Vest. It's not the double Vest meta. It was an error, but it's no big deal. So, going into the last game, you personally enjoy game reviews. Games like this are fun, you know. It's able to, like, you're able to learn some more stuff. Let me know, guys, what I could do differently in this Game 3. I love watching YouTube videos. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I work pretty hard on them. There's a bunch of cool ones coming out all week. So, we see Fardruff Urshi again. Again. And this time it's Talonflame Amoonguss. Now, is this Zoroark? Or is this Amoonguss? It's Amoonguss, right? So then, but they're like, where's the Zoroark? Where is it? I can Surging Strikes. I see the Zoroark. And I was like, you can't see me, bro. I'm too fast. I'm too furious. I mean, what would you do here? I mean, I think I'm super okay to just click these buttons. This Urshi has Surging Strikes, Close Combat, U-Turn, and Brick Break. So no Ice Spinner either. So, like, I'm sitting here, I'm like, do I want to Protect? But I just go for the Tailwind. And even if you make the right play and take out the Talonflame, well, then I just put your Fardruff to sleep, and then I just bring out something and just win with the Zoroark again, right? So they turn one, swap out. I think it's good that they swap that out, by the way. And they swap in a Heatran onto a Spore. Yes, please. We Tailwinded even though we didn't need to, per se. But Surging Strikes right in Talonflame. Easy. Like, we're doing it. It's happening. Bam. Damage has been dealt. Should I have went after the Urshifu? It's hard to say, right? I think it is hard to say. Because, like, I like this play. Because I also didn't want to get Psychicked by that Fardruff. I did not want that. I'm down to sleep this Heatran and get my Tailwind. So, in this situation, we have the mid-game Zoroark. So, it's time. Now, what would you do if you were the opponent here? If you saw this board, what would you do? What would you do? I want you to actually tell me. Because, like, I don't know, man. If I saw Urshi Dark Amoonguss and I had a sleeping Heatran, I would for sure be swapping in my Fardruff. Yeah, sleeping here turns off its eyes. And like this, I can click Rage Powder and just fucking kill everything. But I get no respect, bro. I get no respect. I'm thinking like, bro, I can just Rage Powder. I can just do it. But it's Zoroark. It's not even Heatran. Sorry, it's not even Urshifu. And so the last Hyper Voice killed the Urshi over there, but it crit. And I thought it actually would have just killed anyways. It looks like they're a bulky Scarf Urshi, which I think is a really good set. And so I'm thinking to myself, I can probably just... I think a double dip into the Urshi to make sure that we KO if this doesn't. Which I don't disagree with this play either, but like I cannot believe that they were just going to like fodder their Heatran. They were just going to take their Heatran and deposit it into the garbage can this turn. I just had to click Redirection, Close Combat, Heatran done. But they knew that it was going to be Zoroark, I think. I think they did. Because also, they're like water tearing their guy over there. They're not even terrestrializing the Heatran into grass to make it not die to close combat, bro. Like, they know this is Zoroark. And so I still, like I said, I still thought that I'd get the KO. But that being said, you know, Hyper Voice comes in. It does not get the KO. And then Surging Strikes, I got lucky here that they actually still targeted the Amoonguss slot. Yeah, I think the Zoroark team's really good. And so, like, I should have just clicked Rage Powder anyways. Because, like, I could have just went, you know, Hyper Voice again next turn. And there wasn't anything they could do about it. But, you know, we get the Effect Spore Para. It does not matter because we're still doubling that slot with a Sludge Bomb. So it didn't matter at all that we got the Effect Spore. Yep, Sludge Bomb takes it out. So Terra's down. Urshi's down. Heatran's asleep. We know they have a Fardruff, which means they have to send something good out here. This right here has to be Rillaboom, Shempow, or Dragapult to have a big impact on this game. And if they have those, they'll send them out here. So they go with, I think it's Shenpao, right? And I'm like, oh, that's annoying as fuck. Because they also have like the good set. They also have like the Sacred Sword on it. But anyways, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, fuck, this Heatran is going to wake up. This is too slow of a grind against vested Heatran. So I need to start making some plays. Right? I feel like this is you got to start making some plays. You could Rage Powder and hope for Effect Spores. Or you can, like, weave in and out your Zoroark. Problem is, now Zoroark being a normal type and not a normal ghost type, now it shares, you can just Sacred Sword that slot. So I'm thinking to myself, like, I think we have to Rage Powder because, like, they're probably just going to Sacred Sword. And we're just going to try and do enough. Yep, this is still the right play, I think. And then they're also just waiting for Heatran to wake up, which is, for them, the right play. It would have been nice if I was able to, like, weave out a couple other Mons, but... yeah, I just can't believe that, like, the last turn they did that play. I couldn't even believe it. It was a good play, though. That's the thing. It's not one of those things, like, the first two people we played, like, they just disrespected Zoroark. This person, like, I think, like, actively chose to be like, that is Zoroark, and punished me for it, which is, I think, the way that you should be beating Zoroark. Because Zoroark just forces those 50-50s. So in this situation, like, man, I'm getting lucky that this Heatran's not waking up, but this Shenpao is about to absolutely end my life force in, like, 2 turns. So I think you just have to, I think the best play is just Rage Powder and, like, hope for a 3rd turn sleep on the Heatran. I think there's still 1 more turn of sleep. And, like, a Effect Sport. Right? Poison, sleep, Para's viable. So Hyper Voice comes out. Does a ton of damage to the Shenpao. Look at this. Oh my gosh. Big sash. And we're really hoping for something. You know, just hoping for something. Sacred Sword in the Amoonguss slot. We don't lose the Amoonguss, right? And then 3rd turn sleep. So, like, right here, I feel like I should be winning this game. I'm trying to think of what else I could do here. The fact that I can't hit that Heatran with Amoonguss is really bad. So I'm sitting here thinking what I should do here. We're hoping that the Shenpao protects. Because, like, I can just click Hyper Voice and kill it, right? And so I'm thinking to myself, if I swap in my Urshi, there's a good chance that also I would be able to get a Salic Berry proc, and then from there, pin and win the game. And then what happens right here, this is the play. Because I think the Shenpao's protecting. Shenpao's going to protect, they're going to wake up in Heat Wave. And then we're fine. We're protecting moves. I like this play. Like, I like this play. Because realistically... Yep, or Sucker Punching. You know, it didn't really matter. They get the Wake Up. They get the Heat Wave. It does not hit my Amoonguss because it's protected. And I'm like, yo, cool. Worst case scenario, you know, we just get a Salic Berry proc. This is awesome. They fucking burn me with the Heat Wave. And I'm like, oh. Yep. I mean, at this point, I don't have a way to, like, break the Fargiraffe anymore, you know? So I shouldn't have swapped in Urshi. I think I should have just went Protect Amoonguss. I should have went Rage Powder Hyper Voice, lost both my Mons, and then versus the Fargiraffe and Heatran. Now that still would have been a loss to Dazzling. I think they just had it. You know, I think they played well enough, and I left Amoonguss on the board a little bit too long. I'm trying to think, like, what I could even do here. I'm trying to go for, like, Fling strats. I'm trying to read a Protect from the Shenpao, and then try to get a speed boost. So, like, you're swapping out there. If you swapped in this Fargiraffe and you protected your Shenpao, bro, I would be able to side Fling, give my Zoroark a +1 speed boost, and let it pin both those Mons. But no, they just click all the buttons. They do all the damage. Fling fails. We lose the game. And we had a good run. It was a fun tournament. Remember, the rules state, if I lose one match, we're done. So I will say I played one more game. I went to go cook lunch after this. So I was in the kitchen. I was making some pasta, and I was just like, I had my Switch on handheld mode, and I was just like pressing A, clicking random moves. We got bodied. But person also played very well in round 4. But I basically just dropped after that round. This game took really, really long time. So we're going to call it there. But I think this team's really cool. I think this team is really, really cool. I think it does a lot of things right. I think there is a good chance that I do potentially use a Zoroark, be it Hisuian or the Unova Zoroark, at San Antonio Regionals. I think it's a Pokemon that, it's one of the only Pokemon left in the game that can actually let you have, like, player identity and, like, a play style. I feel like the game is so, like, monotonous right now with so many Torns, so many Urshis. Every team is like Torn, Urshi, Flutter, Arc, you know, and then you see, like, some people use Dango, some people use, like, I don't know, some people use Dango and some people use, like, a King Gambit or something, but, like, that's the same team, right? Every single team, once you get to, like, the top 8 is the exact one. And I think I want to be able to mix it up a little bit. And I feel if I were to fix this team, like I said, this team is, like, well over a month old, maybe almost 2 months now. I don't think we necessarily need a Moongus. I don't think we need Palafin, but I think, like, the Talonflame or some sort of mon that gives, like, priority speed control, maybe like a Tornadus, fused with something like, you know, let's take a look back at this over here. I think Zoroark's really good. I think Urshi's really good. I think Talonflame and Ursaluna are good, but I think the Amoonguss and the Palafin could be swapped out for a couple other things. And I think that if I were to do that, I might be able to get something that not only could be really fun to play, but it could go deep into the tournament, and realistically, if you get me into, like, a day 2 situation, or, like, a top 8 situation, I would actually put money that, like, there's a good shot that I win, because, like, if this team, if it's made to beat everyone else, and none of them have any idea how to approach this matchup, that's going to be rough for them, especially if they've just been on 2 days worth of playing against, like, the same team mirrors every single round. There's a good chance we got shots. All those things being said, I think that Zoroark has a lot of tools that are left unexplored. Like I said, both forms can be really good, and I'm going to be trying over the next week or so to come up with some Zoroark teams that I like. So you might see some of those on stream, you might see some of those on YouTube, or you might just have to wait and see me on the official live stream at San Antonio Regionals, crushing it with one of my absolute favorite Pokemon.